With that said, I am going to leave the word over to Rachel and welcome you to the stage. And so happy to have you here, Rachel.
Hey everybody, I'm Rachel Saunders. I'm not as used to Zoom, so I'm working at Google, and so we use Google Meet, but Zoom has some cool features, so let's make sure that I can get my screen shared with you all. All right, so like everyone said, there's a lot of hype right now in the AI world, and Google has been really trying to make sure that we keep up with the hype and do really amazing things, but there is a way that we can go beyond the hype. We can be really practical and still powerful with amazing Google AI tools for you and your business. And I'm going to go into four different things that I think that will help you today. You can go in after this webinar, after you watch this webinar, and start using some of these tools right now and see immediate, practical, and powerful different types of solutions that you can really get a lot of benefit from. So let's jump in. So we're going to talk about four different things. We're going to talk about improving productivity in your everyday tasks. We're going to level it up to understand complex content in minutes. Then I'm going to show you how you can access and build what I like to call AI colleagues. And then we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to build our own apps. So let's jump right in with improving productivity in everyday tasks. So no matter your business, no matter what you're doing, you're likely looking for ways to improve your efficiency and your collaboration. And we know that you want to address gaps in your communication, your collaboration, and your access to information. And you want to do all of this while you reduce costs, and you want to meet security standards as well. And so let me just give you some really easy ideas to help with that. So you've probably already heard of, or you're probably already using what we call Google Workspace. And you're probably likely familiar with its most popular product, even if it's only for your home use, and it's Gmail. But Google Workspace is definitely not just Gmail. It's actually a suite of AI-first professional collaborative applications. It's email, it's calendar, it's virtual meetings, it's chat, it's docs, it's slides, it's sheets. And by themselves, a long time ago when all of these were established, even before the AI era, these apps were really easy to use and really powerful. But now they've all been infused with the powerful AI models to enhance their capabilities. So let me just show you a few of these. So Google Docs. Besides just email and chat, where I personally spend most of my time, Google Docs is probably the third most common place that I spend my time. But starting out with that like intimidating and overwhelming like blank page of a text document, it's intimidating. It's overwhelming. You don't know what you're going to be doing there now sometimes. But it actually now has become an opportunity. You can just tell Gemini, an LLM, what you want to create. And it helps create the structure for your thoughts. It suggests formatting and generates images. And it even helps you with the styling, all while keeping your voice and your control. And what's even better is that you can ground the request in specific content, like a slide deck or a rough outline, or even meeting notes. And then you can take over from the initial draft, or you can get more help from Gemini as you go. The next thing is Google Slides. Creating presentations like this one can be one of the most time-consuming tasks for professionals because you want it to look professional. And just like the feature in Google Docs, you can start with just a simple plain language prompt and some content like a PRD or notes or an email. And you can generate professional quality presentations in moments. It'll have consistent styling and messaging, and it's all brought to life so that you can focus on the delivery. Or if you're like me and you have like 100 other things to do, like actually building and polishing the thing that you're talking about in the deck. So you're not spending your time fiddling with the deck, you're actually getting to the actual real work at hand. And in all of the Google Workspace apps, you actually have this Gemini side panel where you can chat with Gemini to like summarize and analyze and generate new content. And this feature is particularly useful in Google Sheets, which is our spreadsheet app. So you no longer have to dig through Help Center articles like to find that feature that like turns every other cell bright pink, or to figure out the right formula and syntax for your data analysis. You simply describe what you want to calculate in plain language, and Gemini generates the appropriate formula. And so this doesn't just save time, it helps really make working with your data easier and better. And even more importantly, it gives advanced spreadsheet functionality, and it makes it accessible to everyone on your team. So it's not just limited to some like person who has spreadsheet foo. You can be anyone on your team to be able to really get and dig down into your data. And so working at Google, I personally attest that my team and I utilize as much power from all these workspace apps as we can. But let me share with you this powerful transformation story from one of our customers, Etsy. It's one of the world's most popular and busy online marketplaces. And their teams used to spend hours manually analyzing tech support tickets. It was a really time-consuming process that took valuable resources away from actual problem solving that their team needed to do. But when they integrated Gemini into Workspace, they could analyze customer support trends instantly through simple prompts. And so using Gemini is definitely about saving time, but it's also about enabling teams to focus on higher level work. And because everything happens within Workspace, teams can collaborate on these insights in real time, with AI supporting your team every step of the way. So I also want to give you a sneak peek of something that's going to come up. This is actually one of these things that's going to make Workspace even better. It's a set of tools that's currently in private preview, but it should be available to everyone very, very soon. And it's called Workspace Flows. And you can automate common tasks or build intelligent systems to make your life easier and more productive with the different tools that Google Workspace has. You can use one of the pre-built flows from any one of these categories. And this slide is showing some of the flows for email boosters. So for example, you can get a notification when your manager sends you an email, or it can star email for follow-up. And there's a lot of other things in there, things that are specific to the customer interactions or connecting with your team. You can also create your own flow to perform a task or action that's unique to your company or work. So keep an eye out for this. This is coming out soon to everyone in the next, really soon. So hopefully I've given you some ideas for how you can immediately start being more productive by using Google Workspace. But let's level it up and learn how you can do even more with Google's AI tools. So let's talk about creative ways that you can understand complex content in minutes. And to do this, I'm going to tackle the juggernaut of complex content, tax code, just as an example. So if I were to go to the Skatteverket site, there is a lot of information here. And can you all see my screen with all of the Skatteverket documentation? Who wants to read through all of this and understand this? Look at all these tabs, look at all these pages. This is an amazingly complex set of information. But we can actually use something called Notebook LM. And some of you might have heard of this. You might have used it because you can actually use it just as a regular person in your regular life, but it can actually also help you with a lot of different things in your workplace too. So I'm going to go to Notebook LM, and I'm going to create a new workbook, a notebook. And what it's going to ask me when I start this is going to ask me, hey, can you upload some sources, some content that you want to learn about? And so I'm going to take a couple pages from the Skatteverket website, and I'm going to load it into here, and I'm going to paste the URL here, and I'm going to maybe go to like, hey, what if I also want to like, I need to live in Sweden, and I want to get a personnummer. How am I going to do that? I don't know. Let's see how I can do that. I've just added some website URLs. I'm going to insert those. And what it's going to do is it's going to immediately start giving me a summary of everything in that content. That was in seconds. It gave me a summary of those two pieces of information. And what it also gives me here is a chat. I can start chatting with this content directly. I'm not chatting with some massive outside thing. I'm chatting with these specific documents. So I can ask, like, how long does it take to get a person met? And it's grounded in these two sources. It's going to start looking at that information and it's going to start giving answers. There's also all sorts of different types of like prompts that I could use if I don't know what to ask about. But then what gets really exciting is once you go into Studio. So Studio within Notebook LLM and Notebook LLM actually gives you the opportunity to be able to do some really cool things like audio overviews, some video overviews, and some other things. So I'm going to make an audio overview, and I'm going to say a brief one just because I think it's easier. And it's going to take a little bit less time to create it. And it's going to tell me the hardest things about getting a work visa for Sweden. Okay, so I'm going to set that off and I'm going to let it go. I'm also going to show you how we can also generate reports. And this might actually already be ready. No, it's not. So we can actually generate all sorts of reports. We can create our own. We can create a briefing doc, a study guide. We can even create a blog post or memos, policy briefings, all sorts of things, all from that specific content, grounded in that content. And let's see if this is ready yet. Oh, it's not quite ready. We can also generate flashcards and mind maps if we wanted to. Like I said, we can generate a video. And you can even do a quiz if you wanted to say like, hey, how can I like, if I wanted to actually like quiz myself if I actually learned everything correctly. Let's see if if it's generated yet. Okay, it's taking a couple minutes. We'll come back in a couple minutes. But this is a really great way. We can also, let me make sure that you also know that the other kinds of sources that you can add all sorts of different images. You can add documents. You can even add just plain copy text. You can add YouTube URLs and different documents from your drive. And we have a source limit of up to 50 different documents that you can add. In addition, you can also have it discover sources. So you can go and you can have it actually find sources for you out in the world. So you're not actually even having to generate all your own sources if you give it some information on here. Let's see if it's ready yet. Are you ready yet? You're not ready yet. Of course, live demos, they always end up being slower than you think, right? Are there any questions about Notebook LM while we're waiting for it to generate?
There are no hands raised and
Okay.
there are no questions in chat for now. But one thing that I thought about creating blog posts is something great that you can do if you already have a website and maybe create a blog post about the information you already have there.
It's an excellent use case because yeah, if you have a website or you just have some internal docs or whatever feature you're starting to work on, all of that definitely can all be added right into here as your sources. All right, so it says that it's ready. Let's play it and see what it talks about. So this is going to be an audio overview of what's the hardest part about getting a work visa in Sweden. So let's see if we can actually play it.
This is the brief on Swedish personal identity numbers. So if you're moving to Sweden for work, you can pretty much forget about regular ID systems. The personal identity number, or personnummer, is your single, lifelong master key to, well, everything there. First, this number comes from the Swedish tax agency, which is called Skatteverket, right when you get registered in the population records. And here's the key part. You keep it for life, even if you eventually move away. Second, this isn't just an ID. It's kind of like a dynamic link. When you update your address, for example, the tax agency makes sure that change goes out to all the other government authorities and even to private companies. It just saves you so much paperwork. And finally, the number itself is packed with information. It starts with your birth date, year, month, and day. After that, you've got 4 more digits. The second to last one actually shows your legal sex, odd for a male and even for a female. Understanding the power of the personnummer is absolutely your essential first step to unlocking life and services in Sweden.
So I think that was pretty accurate. You all agree? Yep. So that took just a couple minutes. You could have even done a longer video. I chose a brief one, and you could have added more content or more questions for it to answer. But it's all going to do it in a really conversational kind of way to be able to give either you or your customers or even your team. My team uses it to understand complex doc sets and actually pull like summaries out of it. And we actually add those summaries to our documentation so that people can just immediately listen to a summary of the page without necessarily having to read the page or type it into a Gemini prompt or anything like that. They can just click right away and hear the audio overview that we've already generated for them. So there's lots of really cool ways that you can use this. So I'm going to go back to, so I'm providing you with this deck, and I can show all these links in here so that you can access all these cool tools later. And you can just, like I said, go to that website and start using, starting using Notebook LM right away. So I also provided in here, just in case you don't see the demo, I also just kind of provided a quick overview of what we just went through. We took some website URLs, popped them into the sources, and then we got a summary of the content. We chatted with those sources. And then we could generate audio and video overviews. We could generate reports, all within Studio, which is where the really, really fun stuff happens. So I hope that you can find out like how you can like use these types of tools. There's some examples that we gave you. I love that Alexander like popped up some good examples as well. And from the first two things that I just showed you, like Google Workspace and some of those tools, and then Notebook LLM, which I think most people like end up spending like a half a day exploring because it's so fun and cool to add certain random stuff to it as well as your business stuff. You have probably like a dozen new things to try out. But let's take it up even another notch. So Google has named its AI toolset Gemini. And one of the reasons that Google has named ourselves Gemini, all of our AI tools, is because it's supposed to be like a partner, like a colleague. It's something that you work with. It's not supposed to replace you or anything like that. It's supposed to be a Gemini, that dual partnership. And it's because none of us can do everything ourselves. And it often requires colleagues that can provide specialties that we either don't have or we need help with. And sometimes you just need that extra boost or you need some efficiency, and you can actually access and build what I like to call AI colleagues. And you can do this both for yourself as well as share with your company. And in this world, these AI colleagues, you actually hear the industry standard term. It's called agents. And agents are things that can that can actually take action on behalf, or they can do some sort of complex workflow to be able to achieve some sort of task or goal. And so I'm going to show you, in the words of our CEO, Sundar, a new platform that actually takes in a lot of different things that I've shown you in the first half of this, to be able to make more of a platform of AI services that takes a lot of these different pieces and puts them all together. So I'm going to actually play a video. It's a 1-minute video of Sundar explaining a product that we call Gemini Enterprise. And I'm going to pause the video at certain times to be able to talk about some of the pieces of it. And I'm only going to give you kind of like a quick peek of this, because to actually go into the details of Gemini Enterprise, it would probably take a good like half hour or an hour to go into all the cool things that you can do. And so I just want to make sure that you have a general overview, and so that you can go in and explore it for yourself and watch some of the videos that they have, as well as some of the demos and types of resources that you can access after with this slide deck. So I'm going to play this video from Sundar, and I'm going to do my screen sharing off again to be able to play this video for you all. So just a moment, and you're not going to be able to hear me. You're only going to be able to hear Sundar in a couple minutes.
And Rachel, we have a question here in the chat asking about the Gemini feature that is in the top right corner of your browser. What does it do while you're browsing?
Yeah, it's like a Gemini. So it's opening Gemini in Chrome. You can actually access Gemini in a lot of different places. So you can access Gemini even in your like dev tools. So you can access Gemini to help you with your tabs. So this is actually the Chrome version of Gemini. So it helps you with your tasks. It can organize your tabs for you. It can find tabs for you, all sorts of things like that. So it's actually the Gemini, it's Chrome's infusion of Gemini to help you with all of your work that you might be doing within Chrome. Good question. Very observant too. Any other questions? Any other things I'm kind of poking out in my UI that you would have questions about? But yeah, you'll see this. We try to keep everything like with Gemini. You'll see a little star or a little bit of magic. So you can actually see all sorts of different places where you'll see like Gemini infused into different Google products. Any other questions before I play Sundar? It's only a quick video, but I'm going to pause it at certain times to be able to show it.
Introducing Gemini Enterprise. Gemini Enterprise is an AI-powered conversational platform designed to bring the full power of Google AI to every employee for every workflow. It's built with Google's most advanced Gemini models. It enables you to chat with your company's documents, data, and applications, gives you the tool to build and deploy AI agents, including a suite of pre-built agents, and is grounded in your company's information and your personal context at work. We think about Gemini Enterprise as the new front door for AI in the workplace.
So I'm going to talk over Sundar. Sundar, if you're watching this later, please don't. I'm going to talk over it, give a little more context for some of the things that he showed off in this video. So I'm going to replay this, and I'm going to pause it a few times as he's talking. So right here, you can see it's a conversational agent, and it actually partners the Gemini models. And in fact, in the next slide, I'm going to show you that it actually gives you access to a lot of other models as well. You can actually use Google's pre-built or third-party agents, so all sorts of agents that are already built by Google to do certain things for you and achieve some goal, some kind of task. You can also orchestrate those agents, and so you can actually build a workbench of all sorts of agents connected together. And I would have actually, if I had made this graphic, I would have put the context, which is in the upper corner. I would have actually put it right smack in the middle, because one of the most powerful things about Gemini Enterprise and all of the tools that I've shown you so far is that you're actually grounding the model in your own context. And if you've ever worked with an LLM, you know that it sometimes hallucinates. It sometimes doesn't get things right. It doesn't get the most up-to-date things. But by grounding all of your work and all of your agents and all of your AI activity in your own context, that's what gives LLMs like superpower. And so this context and all of the things that I've shown you today, and especially with Gemini Enterprise, is all about making sure that it's grounded in your company's or your context. And then also, because it's through Google Cloud, it has governance and security, which is an amazingly important thing for you to make sure that you always have guarantees on. Is we make sure that all of those things, there's no questions about that, about how your data is being used. We don't see it, we don't use it. And so that's a really, really important standard that Google has kept on with a lot of these, especially these enterprise. Anytime you get on a paid plan, we are not seeing your data. We are not using your data for training. So let's keep going. I slowed it down quite a bit so I could catch certain things. So here, you can actually see a lot of the things on the left-hand side. You see that Notebook LLM? So again, like I said, we're actually pulling together into one platform a lot of the things that I've talked about if you wanted to combine them into one platform. So there's Notebook LLM availability here. You can also do idea generation. And so that's, it actually takes your context and it says like, hey, what would be a really cool idea, a really cool feature for this? Or what would be a cool marketing campaign? What would be some things that would be really helpful for my company to do next quarter? You can also do deep research. So you can actually point it to all sorts of different content, even websites, even the whole entire web, and you can ask it for information about things. So for example, you could ask like, what is the top industry in this country, and what would be the best ways to be able to make sure that I'm meeting the types of challenges that that industry has. And it will start going through and it will spend a few minutes. It takes a little bit of time, maybe like 5 minutes, but it will start doing deep research for you and start doing a greater analysis of what trends are in the markets or what is going on with your data or what's going on in your company or a specific problem or challenge that you're having. You can also do like emails. It can craft emails for you. It can make videos of all of your content to kind of do story frames. There's all sorts of different things here in this, like just the left-hand panel that you can do. Let's keep going. So see, you can see all of these. It gives you these mind maps of all the different things that are the different agents. So these are orchestrated agents. So each one of these does a different thing. So there's like a controller agent up here that's a campaigns agent, and it has access to a lot of other agents. And these agents do specific things. So again, it's like an AI colleague. It's like walking around your office and saying, you're really specialized in this. I need you on my task force. You're really good with this. I need you on my task force. And each one of these agents is really, really good at a specific thing. But when you put them all together, they actually do the whole entire workload of what's this, in this example, a campaign. So if we keep going, we can see that again, I said that, yeah, Gemini models are like the hallmark of it, but you actually have access to a lot of really cool models. So you can do media generation, so our Nano Banana, which is our image generator, or you could do video generation. You can even do music and audio with Lyra. So all sorts of models you have access to. You also have access to Gemma, which is our open source models. So you can put them all on your device, and it's not even in the cloud. And then if we keep going. So again, you can chat, you can build, you can create images, you can do all sorts of things with whatever it is you've uploaded into your context. You can do these types of chats with it. It's one of the easiest ways to interact. It's the easiest like front door kind of thing to all of your content. And you can see all of your agents are here, your library, all sorts of different things. Support ticket trends in 20 seconds. This is, I don't know how many of you are familiar with this. This is something that's just launched recently. It's called Gemini CLI. And if any of you are developers, like you actually touch code a lot of the space that you work in is your terminal. And we've launched Gemini CLI to actually put Gemini's help right into your terminal. So you can give it tools and different like MCP servers, and you can actually start interacting with your code bases right from your terminal with the power of Gemini. So if you haven't checked it out yet, it's called Gemini CLI. It's really easy to install. And you can get access to a whole suite of extensions and things like that. They're kind of like plugins for it from all sorts of different people from Google, as well as all sorts of different non-Google companies that want to interact with the terminal commands. And here's an example of the agent gallery. So again, I showed you that thing where there was like an orchestrated gallery, but these are also, there's also a suite of just ones that are out of the box. So again, we have idea generation, deep research, notebook LLM. You can also share these. So if like maybe someone in your HR department has developed a way to be able to track time really well and how well you're doing on being efficient with your time. And they created an agent for that. They can actually share it, and then you could use it with your own time calendar. And it was something to be able to make sure that everyone in the organization gets the benefit of one person's work. That one person can share out the different types of agents that they've built. And these are private to your organization. We don't see them. No one else can see them. You can share them to a broader marketplace if you want. But we also have third parties that have created their own agents that they think are helpful for anyone to use. And so you can also access those. So I think that's the end. Oh, that's again, the context, your workflows, people, sharing, collaboration. That's all what it's all about, is making sure that you have colleagues that can support you, and then you can level up and make sure that you're actually getting done what you want to do in a day. And I think that's the last of this slide. Yep. So this is just a really quick overview. So it's a snapshot of what we just talked about for Gemini Enterprise. I'm not going to go through it all over again, but just in case you want to watch the video or watch the deck later and you want to have a snapshot of it. Okay, so we just talked about Google Workspace. We talked about a Notebook LLM. We talked about a platform that kind of brings a lot of that together into like a more agentive workflows and agents that you can build. I want to show you a really quick example of someone that's actually used Gemini, another case study, so that you know that this is not just a bunch of baloney, that we actually have seen real, real case studies that have benefits. And there's actually a whole suite of case studies that I can share the link to so that you can read more about it. But this one was particularly interesting to me because it's just like a really small thing, which can actually make something go so much faster. So Gazelle is they work with realtors, like property providers and services. And they were using AI to generate property descriptions. And they were finding that when they used AI, they could actually deliver content faster. Like they went from 4 hours to generate like these descriptions and content for these properties down to 10 seconds. What could you do with an additional 3 hours and more than that in your day? If you had an extra 3 hours in your day, maybe even 4 hours in your day, what could you possibly do with that time? I bet you could find a billion things that you could do, both fun and work. And when they used Gemini, they found that there was actually more accurate AI generated content and it was less expensive. So I know that that's one of these concerns for folks is that, hey, is this going to be really expensive? You can put guardrails in, you can do different things. And even out of the box, Gemini is incredibly cost efficient. And we found that for a lot of folks, it's actually less expensive than a lot of people thought when they first started. So again, I'm going to provide links to these case studies as well as like links to a whole bunch of other case studies so that you can read all sorts of different types of ways that people that they use Gemini or the different products that I've been talking about. And let's see where it goes. So AI colleagues, try them out. Try building some agents. That's really easy to get started. Click a few buttons and you can actually build your own quick agent right away. We actually built one for our content that is grounded in our Google Docs, in our developer docs. And it actually built a little chat bot that we can send out to support agents within our company to be able to build a really quick agent. It was super, super easy. It was like a couple clicks and we were able to build that agent without even really like a lot of work. So you can try this out today to build your own little AI colleague. But now, we're not done yet. This is actually one of my favorite parts of this presentation. So I'm excited that we have a few minutes. We have like 10 minutes to be able to talk about this. I think it's one of the most powerful and even fun ways that AI can bring your ideas to life. It's building your own apps. And no coding experience is required at all. Like, have you ever sat around and you're like, oh, I wish there was an app that did this, or I wish there was an easier way to do this, or I don't know how to explain this to my kid, but this is a really complex topic and I just need a way to like experiment with it and explain it. Or I wish this app did this thing better. It just isn't the workflow that I would have done to be able to make this app. Well, now you can. And you can make it all of yourself. Again, no coding experience required at all. Now, I'm just going to show you one of the different types of experiences that you can use to be able to do this. And this is called, it's kind of taken the industry term called vibe coding. So it's kind of like you're in the vibe. You don't really have to like know about anything. You don't have to like dig through a bunch of resources. You can kind of like go with the flow with like talking in natural languages and in natural language to build your own app and to code and do things that you may not have ever been able to do before. And I am serious that anyone can do this. I did apps with my 10-year-old nephews, and they were able to build full-blown apps. So any age, any technical level can do this, but it also is great even for even higher technical adept people as well. So I'm going to show you a product called Firebase Studio. And what it is, it's a web-based IDE. If you don't know what an IDE is, that's okay. It's just an interface where you can do development of apps. So I'm going to actually show you the first thing that you see when you get into Firebase Studio. You see this, this little box that says, hey, prototype an app with AI. And you can type in all sorts of different things. Hey, I want an app that does, we actually had a really fun guy. He was a guy who, he worked at a yacht racing, which is very popular in Sweden with boats and everything like that. And he wanted something where his, like, it was like something that his kids did, like little boat races, yacht races, things like that. And they would have like these races, and they needed to be able to track like who won the race. And he was like, we can't always see who won the race or anything like that. And I was like, well, why don't you just like upload a video, and like Gemini can analyze the video to see which boat was the first one. And he's like, are you serious? And I said, yes. And so we prototyped that app, and we just typed in a few things that we wanted to do, upload a video, and tell which boat would like cross the finish line first. Things like that. You can type anything you want for an app that you want to build. But we also provide you with some sample prompts. So just some easy things that you can build. And you can also provide attachments and files. So remember, we talked a lot about the context and grounding it your own stuff. You can also provide all sorts of different attachments. You can also import your own types of things. So like I said, this is a real IDE, and so it actually has all sorts of different things for Python and Go and all sorts of other things. But does anyone have an app that they might want to build? They can maybe give it a go.
No one is saying anything right now. Does
It's
anyone?
fine. I can actually just choose one of the sample prompts, or I can, let's see. I'm going to actually build, let's go ahead and just build the tipping calculator just for funsies. Oh no, recipe generator. Let's do that. That sounds like fun. So I'm just going to use one of the sample prompts, but I'm going to show you an app that I actually built with one of my good friends while this is generating. So it's going to build you, it's going to say like, hey, here's a prompt. I want a simple recipe maker that generates recipes based on ingredients I have in my fridge. A simple UI, green color scheme. But then what you can also do is you can improve your prompt. So it'll actually infuse it. It will make it better. It will talk about different types of cool features that you want. And then all you do is prototype with AI. And what this is going to do, it's going to be, remember we talked about AI colleagues? Well, this is one of the coolest AI colleagues that there is. This is actually laying out features that it thinks would be important for an app like this. So you didn't even have to necessarily come up with every one of the features either. It comes up with like, hey, these are the features. It needs to have an ingredient input. Of course it does. It needs to have recipe suggestions based upon that input, recipe details, and oh, we need to save our recipes. I totally forgot about that feature, but that would be important to save the recipes for later. It also gives you the color scheme. If you can change all of this by customizing it. And it even adds AI features if you would like them. You can add them, you can subtract them, whatever you kind of want to do. So I'm going to just go ahead and prototype this app and see what comes out. So it's going to start working. It's going to start generating all these files. It's going to generate some JavaScript. It's going to generate some HTML. It's going to generate all sorts of things to be able to make your app real. It's going to build out a real UI, the real backend, all sorts of things. It can also spin up databases for you, authentication, sign-in screens, all sorts of things for your data persistence. It can even deploy the app. So you can actually click this publish button, and you can deploy it to a real website. But I'm going to show you actually an app that I built for my friend over the holidays. It actually was one of these things where she was having a lot of problems. She's a vet, and she has appointments. And if you can imagine being a vet, you're in the middle of an appointment with a dog that's going crazy, two like people that own the dog that are like really stressed out about what's going on. And you're having to talk to the animal, you're having to talk to the people, you're having to take information in, you're supposed to give information back out. And so what she has problems with is that she can't have all this stuff written down all the time. And so she says, I need a way to fill in the form after the appointment to be able to make sure everything's recorded. And I was like, Firebase Studio can build you an app that does that. And so we actually built this in a couple hours. It was actually probably about an hour's worth of real time, but it was more like having fun with it. So I'm going to open this workspace up. And I'm going to show you the prompts that we did to be able to build this app. So I actually did it with, I was saying I built apps with my nephews. This is actually my nephews having fun with it, as well as she did a lot of testing on it to make sure it actually worked. So it's going to open up here. Hopefully it will. It's pulling out from cold storage. I should have started it before this presentation. And she actually hard tested it with like an actual like 20-minute appointment with one of her hardest cases that she could remember. And it was really funny because it was words that I'd never heard about in my entire life because she's a vet. Live demos, right? Okay. So this is just a preview of the app. We could also publish it, like I said, and deploy it to a real site. And she actually has a version of this that's her own now that she actually uses in her work. And so you can see like just the conversation that we had throughout the entire time. Yeah. So I gave it a prompt that said, hey, I'm a vet and I don't want to write down everything during an appointment. Please help me do what I needed to do. It gave all the different types of features, like I said. And then let's see if it'll investigate and actually start it up. There it is. Oh, that was weird. Live demos. Here it is. All right. So through iteration, we actually built this app. We changed the color scheme. We changed the font. We added features. We added save buttons. We added all sorts of things to be able to do it. And you can actually see in a conversational, we said, okay, here's the plan. And then we said, oh, I like this. I said, keep the file upload button. I like that, but you can also add a more prominent record button because I wanted her to be able to easily just click the button at the beginning of the appointment and start doing everything. And so we just iterated through this and we eventually got to something that was like this. I'm going to click an upload button and upload an actual recording of what she talked about. It's all about like, oh, you're looking a little tubby, like you might be gaining a little bit of weight. Here's some different medicine that you should probably take. All sorts of different information about the appointment. But it was a live like appointment, like actually like not scripted in any way, shape, or form. I can play it for you if you wanted to do the share things. But what it does is it actually just takes that recording and fills in a form for her. It fills in the appointment information. If I'd said the animal's name, it would have said the name. It says the time of the appointment, the date, says the weight and the temperature. It pulls it all out of the audio file with Gemini and fills in the form for her. And then it also does the treatment plan, all sorts of random characters and letters to be able to make it. It also gives the transcription of the appointment. So this was all done through audio to text and then filling it into a form. And this was all done with prompting. We didn't do any coding at all. I didn't jump into the code a single time to be able to build all this. I can share it. I added download buttons, copy buttons. So downloading it, now I can go into our system. I can share it with other colleagues. And then I can click it and get a whole new appointment. So this is just one example of what you can build with just natural language prompts. It's super helpful. We built it in an hour or so just by having fun. I also want to show you that you can actually also do all sorts of cool, like changing color and all sorts of other things. And so you can change things on the fly with all sorts of just iteration in your chat. Let's see if our pantry chef thing is ready. Oh, look at that. There's our pantry chef app. So it had, this is the one that we had building. It probably finished a little while ago. But it's also asking for a Gemini API key. And this is really important to know about because this app has an AI feature. If you remember, right, it had this AI feature of recipe suggestion. It's going to ask for a Gemini API key. And that's something that enables you to be able to access the Gemini models in your app itself. And so any types of calls, you can actually be on the free tier for Gemini and you can try it out. Everybody gets 3 workspaces in Firebase Studio. And you can try these out for no cost. And you can generate an API key, and that's the Gemini API key for your app that is used to do any type of Gemini features. If you decided to deploy this app, it actually makes that API key go into what's called Cloud Secret Manager. So it's not exposed, and it makes sure that, again, we're focused on security and making sure that all of your resources are protected. So if we wanted to do this, we could auto-generate a key, and we could infuse this app with AI. All these types of things are all fully like operational right now, just from that one prompt. That's the only thing I gave it, was that natural language prompt, and it adds all of this type of information. And all of these saved recipes, it added all of that those types of features. I'm not going to go through any more of this just because I want to make sure I'm respectful of time and any questions that people have. But I particularly want to show that. So Firebase Studio is what I'm showing you here in these types of examples. But I want you to also know that Firebase Studio isn't the only type of vibe coding tool we have. This type of like entering your idea in plain language is offered in Firebase Studio, but it's actually offered in a lot of other ways too. So if you've ever heard of like Gemini app, which is like the ChatGPT version that Google has, so you're just typing in questions, you're typing in like, oh, how does this work? How does that work? It'll actually sometimes prompt you and it'll say, hey, do you want me to build an app for this? And so it's called Gemini Canvas. And Gemini Canvas is like a low-powered, like more simplistic, more straightforward version of Firebase Studio. So if you're ever trying Gemini app, you can actually find this same type of box sometimes, and it will actually generate an app for you. You can also go into what's called Google AI Studio, which is a one level up from Gemini app. And it also will build you like really simplistic, really straightforward apps to be able to get a job done. But I wanted to show you Firebase Studio because if you are a person that wants to even go a step even further than just a single page app, one of the things that you can do is you can actually go into code view in Firebase Studio, and you can start using this like a real IDE. So all of the different types of vibe coding tools will give you apps that look like this, a little chat experience. But one of the really cool things is if you are more technical, you can actually take this and you can start working in code view, and you can start taking it off on your own. You can continue to get Gemini's help in the IDE. And you can actually it's a fully functional production ready app that has everything that you need to be able to have your separation of concerns, all of your package management, everything is right here. So whether or not you just want to do the prototyping and you don't really want to touch the code, or you want to switch into code view, you can with Firebase Studio. But there are ways that you can do this, even if you're not technical at all, you don't want anything to do with the code, you can still do vibe coding. Again, you can do it with Firebase Studio, but you can also do it with Google AI Studio or Canvas, which is launched out of the regular Gemini app. So I'm going to leave you with one last case study. This guy, I thought he kind of wrapped everything together, and it was really nice. So I'm going to stop sharing so that I can play this video.
Gemini Enterprise has been a big win for Gordon Food Service. Not only are we continuing to press forward on using the more technical tools, putting things like Gemini at the fingertips of our workers every single day has been a huge win. Big credit to all of our employees, not just using it to draft emails or analyze spreadsheets. There's a lot of other types of problems that they kind of bring into the Gemini space. Sales teams are using deep research to find out more about their customers. The HR benefits team is using Gemini's podcast to better reach frontline employees. Marketing managers are using pre-built agents and specialized AI agents to find solutions on how to increase brand awareness. An agent on one of our internal teams can work with an agent on another one of our internal teams. That allows us to string together much more complex tasks. Gemini Enterprise puts us at the start of another journey. The real magic of the technology is what it's unlocking from our people.
So I really love that video because it really showcases like how you can have it's about your people, it's about supporting you, it's about making sure that you can actually level up and all the people at your business can work with this. It's not just your tech people. It is everybody that can benefit from this, and you can really grow. Again, I'm going to give you a list of all sorts of different case studies so that you can even watch more types of things or read about things. But today, I really hope that you're going to walk away with these 4 things. Improving your productivity, everyday tasks. Google Workspace, go check it out. You can even try out a lot of these features just on your home type of system before you even try it in your work. But just give it a go, because honestly, you can't break it. Just use it, try it, generate some cool stuff, especially like in slides and things like that. You can generate some amazingly cool things. You can understand complex content in minutes. Notebook LLM, give it a go. You can try it yourself. You can try it on your business's stuff. It's so cool. It builds you all these AI audio overviews, video overviews, reports, pamphlets, blog posts, all sorts of things that you can embed right away into your websites and your different workflows and share it with your colleagues. Building and accessing AI colleagues. Get into the agentive era. Make sure that you're building, that you know about agents and you know about different things to be able to accelerate everything that's happening around you. You can build tasks. You can make it perform complex things, and you can research different things, get insights into different things. And you can really have a suite of colleagues to like multiply your workforce. And then finally, build your own apps. It's super fun. It's super productive, and you can do amazing things that you never thought was possible. And you don't even have to touch the code if you don't want to. But if you want to, you still can. So again, I'm Rachel Saunders. If you want, you can visit this deck after the session. I'll make sure that it's shared with everyone here. Here's the bit.ly link. Take the QR code right now if you want to. I need to make sure that it is actually shared. I need to make sure that it's shared with everyone here. But take this bit.ly code down, and then I'm sure that the folks at AI Sweden will be sharing this out as well. And in it, you can find links to all of the resources and different sites that I talked about today, because I did talk about a lot. And then keep your ear out, because things in the AI world are changing all the time. So everything that I talked about today, it could be even better tomorrow. And there could be new tools on the horizon. So always keep your ear open for all the cool stuff that's going on. Follow our blog posts, follow social media, and you can find out all the really cool things that Google's building to make your AI world a little bit better and a little bit easier. So thank you so much. If there's any questions, I think we have like 30 seconds left.
Thank you so much, Rachel. And we actually do have a question from Andreas in chat here. He says, great and inspiring presentation. Does Google have any training and or seminars that can go even deeper?
Yeah, so we have all sorts of videos and code labs and different types of what we call like cloud skills boosts. You can actually access those. I can give you links to those in this deck so that you all have access to those, and you can, I'll just add a whole entire slide that's all about resources, and so that you can find out more details about this. One of the other things is to keep your ear open for things that we do. Google has a lot of different conferences during the year, and where we give all sorts of like talks as well as like workshops and things like that. So especially if you have any contact with like a Google rep in your company or anything like that, they will definitely be telling you about these. But I'll just provide you with the resources so that you can play with the code, play with some demos, things like that.